have some extra money that I managed to save, to get, but I'm not entirely sure what to do with it. I definitely don't want to take it to a bank and put it into a savings account because the interest rates, let's just face it, they're a joke, right? They're extremely low. But at the same time, I don't want to keep my cash under the mattress. It's actually quite unsafe to do so. And I just simply don't know what to do with that money. If that's the dilemma that you're facing, then you came to the right episode today. Hello everyone and welcome back to Nova Rice Invest. If this is your first time tuning into this channel, this is your channel for real estate education. So today we're going to talk about the 9 things that rich people choose to invest their money with. Why am I sharing this with you? Well, if you're looking for recommendations, looking for ways to actually invest your money, then you will typically want to mimic those who already made it happen, the rich people, right? So that way you can set up a goal, set up a path, and hopefully achieve your financial goals sooner rather than later. And without further ado, let's dive in straight to the board. So the first item rich people invest, it's no surprise, that will be real estate. And what I want to do here is not to just talk about real estate per se, but basically explain you how rich people think in terms of real estate, right? Now, I know that most of us tend to choose real estate because we want cash flow at the end of each month. Every month, we want to be able to collect rent, pay our mortgage, and feel like we have some kind of safety net. But the way rich people think about it, yes, cash flow is actually one of them. But another thing they look into is the possibility of using this real estate as insurance. Just like you buy insurance for your car, for your home, they view real estate as insurance to protect against currency devaluation, right? And we know that especially nowadays with the pandemic and everything that's going on, the more the government prints out dollars, the less the dollar is worth. But they want to have the ability to protect their portfolio against any ups and downs in the market, and that's by doing it through real estate. So over time, hopefully if you hold long enough, the real estate is gonna appreciate and it's going to increase in value. And even if it does depreciate eventually, it's not the end of the world because you can actually use those losses and deduct that from your taxes, which is something that you cannot do with currency. You cannot deduct the depreciation of the dollar, right? So this is in essence how they think. Another thing they invest in will be the stock market. Now, I know this is once again not a surprise for you, but let's just consider how rich people think in terms of stock investing, right? So one, they don't have to get their hands dirty in a way because that way you don't have to worry about collecting rent or anything to that matter. You can just simply open up an account, call it Robinhood, Charles Schwab, Vanguard, whatever platform, TD Ameritrade, whatever comes to mind, and they can just do everything from the comfort of their home. And it provides them easy liquidity as opposed to real estate. Real estate is liquid to a certain degree because you do get cash flows. But let's face it, it takes a little longer to sell real estate. So that's why they want to diversify into something aside from real estate, and that includes the stock market. Same thing with real estate. Just as Warren Buffett says, the key to stock investing is buying and holding long term, right? The longer you hold, it will basically ride out the market's ups and downs, and over time the stock price is just simply going to increase in value. And the goal is, once again, to protect your money against devaluation, currency devaluation. If you were to sell your stock sometime in the future, you can actually make money off of it. And if you sold it when you were at a loss, same thing, you can actually take deductions in your taxes, which is something that you cannot do with your currency. Now, another item that they love to include in their portfolio and that they love to invest is in precious metals, particularly precious metals, particularly gold and silver. Now, let me tell you, these two are by far the oldest, the most ancient type of currency ever existed in the world. You have seen civilizations rise and fall, but gold always withstands and lasts all the way up until today. You've seen currencies created in the past destroyed, and just, even up to modern recent history, you're seeing currency that all of a sudden doesn't exist anymore. The euro was an example up to a couple of decades ago, didn't exist, and now it's really flowing all over Europe, right? So it's very important to sort of like, once again, create some type of insurance. It's gonna protect you from the currency, the modern currency, going away, or the modern currency just simply depreciating and losing its value. You can hold a bunch of gold bars or gold coins and silver and just protect yourself and sell it somewhere down in the future if you need access to liquid cash. So these three type of investment are, let's say, portfolio related. So we have portfolio related. Now, the next category, it's going to be more on investing in yourself, how the rich invest in themselves. So the next item on the list will be education. And by education, I'm not necessarily talking about a high school diploma or a college degree. We have followers from all kinds of socioeconomic background, and the point that I want to make here is to make it all inclusive. If you have a college degree, excellent, good for you. But if you did not, for whatever circumstances, you can still make it by educating yourself. And I'm talking about education in terms of learning how to invest in either one of this, whether it's real estate, whether it's the stock market, or any precious metal. How many times have you heard about people buying a house and then all of a sudden not placing the right tenants, or just simply not knowing that they bought the house at such a high price that whatever they're collecting from the rent is not even enough to cover those expenses, or that they bought some X amount of money in the stock market and then in less than a week they just saw a big dive and then all of a sudden just lost all their money. That's because those people did not invest in their education. Before you do any of this, you have to educate yourself. What's the right way to invest in it? How can you start if you're a newbie? So the rich people understand that. And yes, you probably might be thinking, well, if they're so rich, they could be hiring somebody to do that for them. And that's correct. But before you even hire somebody, you have to conduct an interview. You have to know and make sure that they know what they're doing. That's why in the news, sometimes you hear about people falling for Ponzi schemes. Sometimes people, they just simply do a really good job at selling themselves and making you invest with them. And all of a sudden, $30,000 is gone, $20,000 is gone. That's because they didn't educate themselves. They didn't do the right research in any of these topics. So yes, while the rich know that they can actually delegate those investing activities to other people, they still need to be on the know. They need to understand so that way they don't lose their money and in a wrong move done by someone that's basically outside of their control, right? Now, the next thing they invest in will be in their mental health. And by mental health, I'm not just talking about taking a couple of yoga classes. No. Although that actually helps a lot, it's more than that. See, getting to the top is actually the easy part of achieving things. It's maintaining at the top what makes it extremely difficult. Why? Because when you're at the top, you attract two kinds of people. People who are probably smarter than you because they want to compete against you. And that means you have to educate yourself even more so that you can continue to stay at the top and create the best product possible. So that way your competition doesn't knock you out of first place, right? And the second type of people that rich people tend to attract is people who just simply want something from them, right? Because now they have money and they attract people who are not necessarily there for them, but they're mostly there just to, take away from the money that they've worked so hard to achieve. So either situation, whether you're dealing with someone who wants something from you or dealing with someone who's competing against you, that creates a lot of anxiety. It creates a lot of stress. So you need to be able to learn how to actually channel that. And that's something that rich people value a lot because they need to see, okay, how do I calm my anxiety? How do I actually sleep peacefully at night so that way I'm fully recharged for the next day and be able to take on whatever journey life has prepared for them, right? And along those lines, another type of investment that they do is on their physical health, right? So physical health. Why is that important? Well, if you're not physically healthy, you will not be able to proceed or to work or do everything that you need to do, because guess what? The doctor's going to send you to bed. And even if you try to work as hard as you can, you cannot, because probably your head is aching, your back is aching, and that's not good. And just so you know, with physical activity, the rich people take it to the very next level. So let's say, for example, if they're going out for a jog, or they're lifting weights, or just doing a nice cycling class or something like that, instead of listening to music, what they do, they're listening to audiobooks or a podcast, or maybe an audio debrief of a company that they're interested in. The point is to incorporate learning as you're doing something that becomes almost kind of like redundant or automatic for you, because there's not much for you to think about when you are running, unless you're meditating as you're running, then that's a different story. But for the most part, they try to incorporate a lot of learning as they are working out. How about that? And if you're liking this episode, do not forget to hit the like button to help this episode rank and help other people like you who are looking for information of this kind. So let's continue to the list. Now, the next item that rich people love to invest in is technology, right? So there's a saying that goes like this: we all have 24 hours in a day, but it's up to us to decide how we want to use those 24 hours. So technology, it's a great tool to help you make time, create time. Why? Because you can delegate redundant tasks, mundane tasks to a computer or software that's going to speed it up, accelerate everything for you, and get you more time for yourself, so you can invest that time into things that truly matter, whether it's a strategy to help you continuously grow, or maybe quality time with your loved ones. The next item on the list to invest in, it's a good diet. And now with diet, I'm not talking about eating salad every single day. I'm talking about a balanced diet that's going to give you all the nutrients that are necessary, the right amount of protein, the right amount of carbs, the right amount of fiber, so that way you are at your maximum, highest point of productivity as possible. Eating correctly is not the same as being full, right? You can easily go into a McDonald's and get a nice burger, some French fries and Coke, and you will be full. But it will probably help you feel a craving, but it won't give you the necessary nutrients, so that way you are performing at 100% or 200% if you want, right? And the last one, which I save it for the end, of course, they invest in people. People. Have you ever heard of that saying that goes, you are your net worth? Tell me who you're hanging out with and I'll tell you who you are, right? So your network is very important. The people that surround you are gonna either make you or break you. And that goes across the board. That goes to people and personal relationships, whether you're in a love relationship or in a friendship, or people in business, right? How many of you have seen people who have a lot of money, but they're miserable because their partner they're not there for them. They don't care. They just simply, whatever, and they're miserable. Or how many times have you heard about a business owner who has a great model, a great product, but they feel overwhelmed because they just simply cannot step out of the business, and therefore it has cost them their personal life, their family, because of that reason. So that's why it's important to invest in people. If they find a team member that gets the work done, and not just that, they encourage everyone else in the team to continue to perform, that's someone they tend to treasure. They don't view them as a threat. If anything, they encourage them to do more. They send them to conferences, they send them to training, so that way they can continue to expand their skill set. Because why? They know that the more they can delegate, the more they can grow their business and educate themselves as well, and at the same time invest time with their loved ones. So very important, and hopefully you out of the 9, there's one that appeals you the most. And if it does, let me know, because I will definitely love to hear from you and see which one was your favorite. Do you prefer to do real estate? Do you prefer to invest in your education? Or is it in people, or any of the other ones? And while I still have you here, do not forget to check out this episode, that it's going to help you complement everything you just learned today. So that's pretty much it. I will see you guys soon, and take care. Bye-bye.